Hello, so we're back and we're gonna continue from where we left off, trying to figure out how to make Neovim work nicely with Quarto notebooks. Alright, so from last time, let's see what we did here. So I went on a whole tangent last time. And I added a bunch of features to Quarto so that it automatically detects. So say it automatically either detects and initiates Molten with the correct virtual environment that it can find that goes up the directory up to the earliest Git tree it can find. Or if it doesn't find Git repository roots, it can find. Or if it doesn't find any Git repository roots or any existing virtual envs up to the earliest Git repository roots, it just asks the user to create a virtual env in their current working directory. So if we remove the current VM here, and we gotta remove recursive force rf. So if we go in here, and this only happens when we open the Quarto file. So if I go in here, it tells me that it didn't find the virtual environment, and asks me if I want to create one. If I create one, it creates the virtual environment, installs ipykernel on the environment, registers the kernel to be used with that virtual environment, and then initiates Molten with that kernel. So that should mean that anything that's able to hook on to Molten, which will be our Quarto.nvim plugin that we're going to work on installing now, should be all set up with the right environment. If the user does not select no, they can always do a Molten init with their virtual environments they want to use here. I don't know if they have wherever they store their virtual environments, whichever particular one they want to do. But now it's automatically handled, and because I don't want to have to manage that. And yeah, I spent a lot more time on that than I wanted to. I found out actually like some very weird, very nuanced differences in how this is handled. So file name, fname modify, this tripped me up a lot. So there's differences between, well, I guess it logically makes sense. If you first of all grab the head of the path and then print the full path. Well, grabbing the head first, then printing the full path doesn't quite work as you expect. Do you have to do it in the right order? And even then, it's like I basically ended up going for just printing out the full path first, always, and then only when we need it. Basically, a whole bunch of little bugs that is just I don't have as clear an understanding of familiarity with the interacting with files and stuff in Neovim. But yeah, I just was spending a whole bunch of time solving a bunch of little bugs. The good thing is now that we have it all working, and we want to set up Quarto. So let's see here. I think there were two things I wanted to do. Set up. First of all, let's see what we have to do to set up Quarto. If we go back to, nope, this is not the right thing. So if we go here, right. if we go here, let's see what we have. Quarto and NVim provides tools for working with manuscripts. Let's see what it tells us here. Do we have to install the Quarto engine for this to work? I would assume so. The get started section also comes with a video version of to walk you through. I kind of don't want to walk through videos and trying to seek through where the important parts are, because the videos I had a look, they're doing it seems like they're going over a whole Neovim setup, including Quarto. We're using kickstart.nvim, and I just want this targeted and want to optimize the use of my time here. You can install Quarto from GitHub. Yep. Do we need the actual thing installed? Okay, we'll figure that out later. But what this does, I know that the Quarto has some dependencies that it depends on. Otter enables us to have within code blocks, like for example markdown code blocks or whatever, any tree-sitter block that you can target. It allows you to basically enables LSP interactions in there, like you activate your LSP for the language associated with that code block. So Otter basically allows you to have within the code blocks the language server protocol, like responses. You could, for example, you should be able to, I'm not able to right now, but with Otter, you should be able to look at the docs for this, or get like linting errors, when diagnostic errors, that's what I was thinking of, when there are any errors or warnings. So I actually do want that. Let's start with the basic. I think I already started with, oh yeah, I already did quite a bit of stuff here. Let's see what I did here. I was referencing the config here, and actually what I was referencing is the maintainer, creator, or yeah, this guy, Janik Burr. Thank you very much, Janik Burr. Computational biochemist. That is really cool. Really interesting. All right. Yep. Let's see. So his config. Let's see if we can exploit his config here. So he does a couple things with other, so his configs are not within just one Quarto. So we'll have to look through and see what he does in the other dependency plugins to get the best experience. Well, it looks like he's setting up a bunch of plugins here. I don't think I'll use most of these. And some of them I might want to use, like for example, an image clip to copy and paste images, drag and drop, all that stuff. I do want that, but that is low priority. So we'll see if we get to it. Nabla, yeah, it's for equations. Not right now, I don't want it. Even lower priority. Molten. This one we've already set up, but it looks like he has some interesting setup here. Let's see. So we set an image provider. What did we set as our, did it work? Oh yeah, I remember I ran into a problem with trying to set snacks.nvim as the Molten's image provider. It was just because I was not on the latest version that supported it. But I believe it should work now. But we need the front end to be able to know if it works. I'm gonna grab a drink. Yep. Let's see. So what am I doing here? I am enabling LSP features. This is where auto comes in play. And then code runner features. This is where molten comes in play. I don't quite know what this chunks curly does. And it doesn't look like they explained anything about it here in the docs that I can find at least. Curly. Is there anything in the repo? I'm sure I can find. I don't want to get source code. Preferentially docs or at least comments. And it doesn't look like there are any. Enable completions for HTML also if only activating curly chunks. I don't know what that is. But I don't think that's of great importance to us. So let's see if we can get a minimum viable product here. So yeah, this is the reason I ran into some issues with trying to use snacks.nvim, because I believe snacks.nvim is only enabled in a newer version. I don't know what version. So I'm accepting breaking changes at the moment, which I know this is still under develop. It's not doesn't have a stable release. I mean, it does have a stable release evidently, but it does warn of breaking changes. But I'm fine with that. So we'll figure it out when we get to it. Also open output. I don't want that because I believe this should be handled in line. Okay, I don't know actually what that does. Okay, I don't think I want these for now. If I do end up wanting them, I think it should be evidently clear to me that I want them. And then I can find what change I need to make. Setting the default code runner. I thought this is handled through the config that you pass to the setup. Looks like it's modifying the config here. Where does it set it up? Dinit. Require Quarto config. What is Slime? That is just a different code runner alternative to Molten. Oh, I believe Slime is the, or is it Slug? I believe that was the one that basically you can send code to a REPL in within Neovim. I don't know if I'm most jazzed about that workflow. Would be cool, but it looks like it. Yeah, I looked it up. It sends stuff. If you send a code block, it kind of sends the individual lines and runs each individual line. Outputs for each individual line, the outputs, which is very jarring to me. I don't want that. Let's see. This is just inits. We already handled this automatically. To stop. I'm wondering if there's to have defined a key map for stopping. Is there some valid reason to stop? Is there some like leaked resources or anything like that we want to stop the dinits? I am not sure. What does dinit do? Oh, it just changes. Oh, it actually does run dinits. So there might be some reasons there, but I am not sure. We can leave that for later. Let's see here. Let's see. This opens in browser. Might be handy. Might actually be handy. This as well might be handy. But I think I'll know when I need it. I just want to get a working product. This might be necessary. What does this do exactly? Molten enter outputs. I don't know what it does exactly. We'll come to it. Let's see if we can just get something running. And it says that there are plugins here we have to look out for, that there may be custom configurations. Let's see. What's with that? He doesn't organize it in. Oh yeah, it does have. Let's see. This is not what we were looking at, is it? Ah, was I looking at the wrong thing? What was I looking at? Config for Molten. Okay. We need a config for this. And for Otter, what do we have in it? Where are the configs for Otter? It's just set as a dependency. Let's see. It's the same. Yep. So we do have that set up already. We do have that set up. We have the dependencies. LSP config. Oh, we do need to set up tie Otter to the completions engine so that we actually get completions from Otter. And is there anything we need to do for LSP config? Let's see. Let's see actually where I can find Otter, if there's any other configs for Otter. Just the dependencies. This is in, let's see, just a quick peek. What I'm really looking for is line 49. This one is setting up Vim's lineup. Okay, we don't need that. LSP. Okay, this is setting up the LSP. R column names. I don't think I need this. Neither do I need this. So it's just setting up the LSP. That's tying it up to the LSP that we need to be aware of. Otter. Oh, this is where it's defined. So we define it. And where do we use it? Like set it. Not directly using it for Quarto, as that is handled by Otter and often features more language. Okay. Not directly using it for Quarto. Okay, so we don't need to actually associate the file types because the file type we're working with is Quarto. Okay, but this grabs, simulates like the file type for that code block. Often contains more languages than just R. Okay. So what are we doing here? Get Quarto resource path. What is this doing? Do we need all of this stuff? Okay. Let's go with a basic setup. Let's just start with the basic setup. I think I can close this for now. Let's go bare bones, get something running, and then we can iterate. I don't want to do the other. How do you? There you go. Perfect. So what we want to do here we have this setup. I guess Otter automatically attaches itself to the LSP, registers itself with the LSP. So what don't we have here? I do want that completion actually. I don't know if it's enabled by default. Are these the defaults? It will merge with the default options which are shown below. Okay. So we do have LSP features, we do have curly, we don't need this. Code runner, we have enabled, we just need this. If you want to use the default, simply call setup without arguments or with an empty table. Do we ever call setup? We don't. Build. So we do need to set up with this, right? I guess I'm not too sure if, I think if you call setup manually, it overrides what you, lazy vim overrides what you put here. But I honestly don't know. Let's go with this. I'll just leave it there for now, even though it's probably duplicated. Actually, I don't want to do that. So the code runner is the only thing we want to change here. So I'm not very familiar with Lua. I'm not the biggest fan of Lua. Oh, that's a different topic. Defaults, code runner, we want to use molten. File type runners, I don't think we need to specify for different file types. And by file type, does it mean the actual file type or the code blocks? I believe it means the code block itself. But I'm not sure. Never run. These are defaults, right? Yep, these are defaults. So all we need to change is this. Completion is enabled, diagnostics, languages, R, Python, Julia, that is good by me, honestly. Use the command Quarto preview. Okay. So I think this is all we need to set up. And then I have the key map here to run Quarto preview. And then I just bind R to all the run actions. I got this actually from some, I think it's down here, is it? Somewhere down here. There you go. Well, we'll get to there. Is there anything else of importance? Automatically activates Otter for Quarto files if language features are enabled. Perfect. You can open the hover documentation for R. Okay, that we don't need that detail. R diagnostics configuration. Other edge cases. Other languages might have similar issues. I see a lot of warnings about white space. Okay, this is just handling technical details of how it's handled. Code runner. This is just the shortcuts. Looks like I set everything up already. Huh. Quarto works great with a number of plugins in the Neovim ecosystem. Why wasn't, if this is set up, then, oh, it is working here. No, this is just code highlighting, which is already comes with my, is it just that, actually? If I disable this, does it do the same thing? Let's see. Yep, does the same thing. Oh no, it doesn't do the same thing. Let's see. Am I just done? Or this is different from before, right? So if I go here, yep, definitely. Okay, so it's working. Otter is working. But how do we run this? If I do run cell, okay, it's just, I don't see anything. I think there's supposed to be some artifacts created, because Quarto actually uses Jupyter in the backend to handle, or at least Jupyter kernel, like Jupyter, not the full Jupyter presentation and everything, but the engine that runs Jupyter uses that, so it produces some artifacts, if I remember correctly, at least. This is just the kernels. This is for the virtual env, not for, what is this? Nope. This, okay, just dependencies, not artifacts, I don't believe. How does this run? Run code. That did something. I just don't know what. Maybe it's running, but it's not, for some reason, not showing. Let's see. Is it this one that's supposed to show the outputs? No, this Otter is just for the LSP, but for actually running, it's molten. So I believe something is off with molten, or at least the connection between molten and this. Let's see if we missed anything here, or if we can see the logs. That would be helpful, actually. How do you see molten logs? How does, oh, you can't see what I'm doing. How does one see, how does one get to see the log outputs of molten.nvim and quarto.nvim? And that got sent to my other window, which, okay, this is a long, what the heck is going on? Okay, let's see. I think I may have, okay, never mind. LSP log. So Quarto uses the LSP infrastructure. So logs come from a few places. LSP log level, Quarto specific. Quarto relies on Otter under the hood, and you can check messages for runtime errors or use check health. We should check health for both of them. Molten log level. There's always a good first stop, and messages will show recent in-session errors. If you're unsure the exact path, run the path for the data. Let's do check health on molten, on Quarto, and on Otter. Oh, no check health. What? I find it hard to believe. This one's gotta have a, there you go. Optional Python module This is for the SVG. We saw PNG latex, Plotly we don't use. Optional Python kernel, Python module, Kaleido not found. What does Kaleido do? Or do we need pillow? What is optional? Why is it needed? Why is it? What is it used for? Fast static image exports. Okay, this is for Plotly, but I don't need that. Why am I not able to see what they see here? You see, he's able to run code blocks and have it come up in, just wait a second, you'll see. Oh yeah, molten info, is that, can we do that? Yeah, let's see. All right. Let's see. Molten info. One active kernel. Okay, that part works. One inactive kernel. Oh, this is from a bug. I had a bug that misnamed the kernel. So this is actually not important. We should actually delete this. Let's see what kernels we have. Oh no. There you go. As I expected. So we got the kernel working. That part works. Is it a snacks.image that doesn't work? But even then, we should get a, what is the output here? I really gotta set up a airspace or something. Unfortunately, I'm running on an M3 Mac, so I can't even use Asahi Linux and have like a Talon window manager, proper Talon window manager. And I haven't had the time to set up, well, yeah, I haven't had the time at all. I've got a whole bunch of stuff I'm busy with to set up aerospace. Let's see. You can start a kernel in the current. You can say I have 4 Jupyter kernels to choose from. Excuse the weird names. That's you can start a kernel in the current buffer with the molten inits. I'll be running code with he's running code with those binds. But do we ever bind? We set those run code commands for Quarto, no? Not for Quarto run cell. Because Quarto has to Can we look at the source code for this? So runner, what exactly is the runner? Quarto runner. Where is it located? I think it's Neovim. Nope, not there. Okay, let's see, local share. did I try before? I don't know what I tried before. I tried cache, not local. So we're looking for Neovim, and we're looking for lazy, and we're looking for the source code for Quarto. Let's see what we can find here. Runner. So let's see. I don't wanna. Yep, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Quarto.runner. I'm looking for code. There you go. Where is runner defined? Runner inits. Okay. Require, where is the actual runner defined? I think it's in here. It's my best guess. Okay, so this is the runner. So when we're calling runner.run cell, does it use molten, not magma? Does it use molten under the hood? So we get the window, we get run. What this does is it gets from utter the current language context. Don't know what this is, but it's not important, I don't believe. Extract code cells in range. Okay. And then send. Quarto config, code runner default method. Okay, that's good. How does it look like? What did we set it to? Default method is molten. So runner is molten. What do we do with runner? Right here. We don't need to grep. Actually helps for visibility. Second thoughts. Not that much actually. File type runners, we don't use that. This is just setting the runner. If it is defined, okay, it's not defined in our case. It's not a function in our case. It's just a string, which means that we call quarto.runner.molten and use it to run. That means we need to search for quarto.runner.molten defined somewhere. Yep, there it is. There's the culprits, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep. And yep, that's just used to run. What does it look like exactly? .run, exactly. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So we go here and it does molten evaluate range. Okay, I believe that's the same thing being done here. Let's see. No, molten evaluate operator and molten evaluate line. I have my status line configured to show running kernels. How can I do this? I really want to do this. I think I use project called Lualine. You don't want to go on a long tangent if it takes time. There you go. Lualine. I don't have. I can just create a new one and go to the correct directory. Now that behavior is very useful in this situation actually. Like tossing a CD into Flux, tossing a CD into my terminal when I open it up. Okay, let's see if Cloud can help us figure out. So what I want to figure out here is how can I set up Lualine to display the currently activated kernel. So so virtual environments is separate from the actual kernel. That the kernel is just running on the virtual environment. The kernel is registered on Jupyter. The currently active, is that what he says here he's doing? Currently running kernel. We give it a reference to, because we can't really, it can't understand video, I don't believe. Just grab this, that's fine. Let's see what it does with that. While that's working, we can go back here and continue trying to figure out what we, nope, I knew that would happen. Why did I not? Okay, molten kernel, we just require molten. Why doesn't it just use require directly? Because this is in, where is this defined in? Oh yeah. We can just change to doing it in build. So it's getting molten status. If okay, it gets the kernels. If kernel is nil, kernel is. If kernels is nil or kernels is empty. Molten exposes a molten status module with the helper functions. You can add a custom Lualine component like this. Okay, while that runs, I feel like there should be a way to manage this better. If I have to go into how Flux works, because I really don't like tossing in a CD. I'm sure there's a smarter way to do that, but that's a problem for another day. The Lualine component function is called every time the status line re-renders, not just a startup. Okay, molten is lazy loaded. So on any non-notebook buffer, molten.status won't be required yet. And the call would error without the guard. What do you mean? I meant can't we just do require this rather than using a p call. So second response here returns all kernels attached to the current buffer. Molten supports multiple kernels per buffer, so it's a comma separated list If there's only one, it just calls that name. So it does initialize the simpler. It returns molten if any kernel is running, or this if not. Basically a Boolean indicator. Okay. For use case of showing the kernel names, kernel is the right one. Can you associate the buffers where molten hasn't been loaded yet? But that doesn't require doing the loading. Checking package loaded. I'm not concerned about the overhead. Go ahead with it. And the second question, is there something you can do to indicate that what that text signifies? How is it handled here? The lower line. Molten in it. I don't see it on his status line. Oh, I do see it then. I did see it then. For a second. Oh, is that a new line? It looks like. It looks like it's a new Lua line on top of. Anyways, it's not worth the time. Let's see if Claude comes up with something quick, otherwise it's not worth the time. Good enough. Let's see if it works. Let's see. If we go in here. Okay. It works. I don't like the icon though, but it works. It definitely works. What is bots? Oh, bottom. Okay. That was quick and easy change. That's good. So I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why I can't see any outputs. Let's see what molten init does if we just call it with no arguments. Yep, allows us to choose, but it doesn't show any kernels. That's strange because it do have a kernel active. What if we do this so that we don't associate any kernels? No. And then we do molten init. Does it show? It doesn't show the kernel. 1 of 1. Okay, so it somehow it's broken. But it sees the name of the kernel, but it doesn't display it in the options, nor does it actually sources as it should. Yes, let's go with this solution. It's alright for now. It's perfectly alright for now. Let's see what we're doing wrong here. Oh, there was even a progress bar? That is sick. Oh, that's because of the thing, of course. Alright, so let's try running commands manually. Let's see what happens. Kernel newest test is ready. Okay, so we try with molten evaluate operator and molten evaluate line. Did we go through everything in the start guide? Evaluate the text selected by the following operator. Evaluate operator. Okay. Molten evaluate visual. Let's see if that works. Let's do line first. Molten evaluate line. Huh, it works. Maybe it's our what do you call it? Settings for how molten displays. We just haven't set it to display the way we want it to display, which is why it Let's see, how do we enter that? Capital K, I think. Molten evaluate line. Capital K. No, how do we enter the... Okay. Let's see. What shortcuts do I have? I don't think the shortcuts I have are sufficient. Let's try it again. Run cell, run above. Let's see. So we're done with this. Actually, can go back here. Run cell. Let's see what it does. Does it just all use the same run command, but with different params? Yep. Run, it grabs the contents based on what you want to run, and then it uses that, I believe. Run ignore cell columns. Send cell. What is send? This one does send as well. Oh, it just sends it to the, just calls run essentially for the appropriate one. I'm very confused. If that's the case, then something's amiss between the connection between Quarto and Molten. Because it seems to me like Molten is working here. If I run this, actually, let's see if we can do, let's see here. I think I'm done with this for now. So if I wanna, what is the pip install for the packages used here? NumPy and of course matplot. Oh, go ahead. I don't know how that happened. The typo error. That's because I edited it, I guess. C-sign. That was probably intentional. That is a valid package, I would assume. Let's see if this works. And let's see how you actually send the visual selections. Molten evaluates visual. Why are you asking me to select a kernel? I have one active. Why do I have two kernels here? If I do this again, do I have three? This is very interesting. No, I just have one. Okay. Not execute, evaluate line. Command not found pip. Let's try this. Oh, nice. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. I meant to zoom in. Done. But why is it not? Something's amiss. Let's see what's going on here. What does he actually get? Is he getting what we're getting right now? He might be getting what we're getting right now. We're almost there. It's just the UI that's amiss. Actually, to confirm if we are almost there, let's see if it persists, the state. Oh. Seems so. Okay, let me see how I can evaluate the selection properly. It does seem like we are making progress. Molten hide outputs. I think maybe it's this that I need. Molten enter outputs. Let's see. Oh, that's if you want to enter. So if you want to enter this, you run molten enter outputs. No? I guess not. Let's try it again. output, if I could spell. It doesn't seem like it. I can feel it. We're almost there. Almost there. Do you have to have selected the selection selected before running this? Because I tried that before and it didn't work. Molten reevaluate cell. How does this work? How does it know it's a cell if it's not tied to Quarto? Let's try it. Molten reevaluate cell. Nope. I don't think it's doing everything. It's not even showing the output. If we do this, okay, that makes sense. Molten hide output, molten deletes. Molten auto open HTML. Molten auto open outputs. Let's set that to true. I want that to be true. That's why we saw it in the config. That makes more sense now. I think we're done with this config though, unless we need, it's the same thing. Right, I need a Quarto. We never did set up. It should work with snacks though. Oh, let's see. I want to see if the image actually works. Separate from if it's showing up immediately like we want. Molten evaluate line. If I could copy this, this would be great. Nope, that is too much. Do the same here. Oh, let's go. This is big progress. Okay. Do this. Do this. Do this. That's an empty plot. But that's because we haven't set the data yet. Doesn't look like. Yep. Let's see. Okay, that's we need to run the show first. Now for the moment of truth. Nope. Nothing. That's disappointing. plt.show. Okay. It's not what I expected. Let's see. Let's get what we can working first, actually. And we still need to consider this part because we skipped this, if you remember. We went straight to the dependencies. Said we'll get to this later, and now is later. We'll get to this. I should make a task list. Close this. So I have obsidian.nvim configured here. I should have. I'm sure there's a plugin for like task management because this is just my dailies. Daily notes. I mean, as you can see here. But yeah, all right. This is gonna be annoying. There you go. What we want to do here is grab this part, look through magma. It looks like images are already working, but I think there's some setups we need to make sure. Molten image setup instructions to make sure there's no image setup you missed. All right. So if we go back to Quarto, specifically his config, I'm glad we have the context now as to why he did a couple other things he did. Lua, plugins, Quarto. So if you remember here, if we go down to the Quarto and Vim config, or molten and Vim, he sets molten to automatically open the output, which we do once. I don't know if we want to open it in browser automatically though. And the molten image provider by default is image.nvim, which we changed already. That's fine. So if we go here, molten, we have set the max width and the Python. Okay, it looks like we've done most of the stuff we do need to do. Okay. This we've done through the config. Don't know why he's doing it this way. I'm sure there's a way. There's a reason. This we've done through our custom thing. This I don't think we need to do unless we see it's a problem. Initialize molten, stop molten, molten image pop-up. What does that do? Molten image pop-up. Output an image from the current outputs with Python's image.show. This will use your system's default image viewer. Okay, just that makes sense. Self-explanatory. I don't think we need that right now. Might be helpful in the future though. Good to keep in mind. Just reference these. I gotta look through more of them. Molten open in browser. Let's see what that does. No HTML output to open. It said open in browser, but there's nothing. Oh, maybe the log was async. Okay, what's the problem here? There's something I'm not getting. We did just add auto open outputs. Hopefully that was the main sort of the problem, source of the problem, but I don't know. We'll need to add this later as well. I don't think there's anything here we've not considered yet. There isn't. Let's restart and see what we have, what we get. Sample. And then if I do run cell, it still doesn't give me anything, which is very disappointing. What if I do molten evaluate line? Doesn't persist. Okay. What's the problem here? I want to solve first why the leader RC isn't running the code block as it should. What does leader RC do again? What did we configure it to do? Not here. Where did we find leader RC from? Where did we get that from? It lives in the setup for Quarto. It was probably from his config that I got that. Let's see. Quarto. Molten, open in browser. This is not what I saw before. Where is all the RC business and stuff? Oh, it is in Molten, right? Because we set this up and no, it's in Quarto. Okay. I'm just going crazy. Let's see. And everything's in here nonetheless, so it shouldn't matter. I don't know where I found that from. We could just do a Google search. Hopefully Google is reliable enough to get the exact match. Yup. There you go. It's from the example. Of course. You can open the Harvard documentation. Does that actually work? If I go here, should work now. If I do capital K, yeah, it does work. Should be information for NumPy. You're saying no information. What? Let's, I don't know, TypeScript brained, JavaScript brained. Let's do test equals thing. How does the dictionaries work in Python again? I can't remember. Let's make it an empty one. How is there no information available? That's weird. Anyways, it's not our primary focus. Just want to get code running. Easily sending code cells to your code runner. There are two different ways to do this. Commands covered below and Lua functions covered right here. Something is very not right. Okay. Let's try a couple of these commands. Quarto preview, close preview, activate send. Let's try Quarto send. Nope. Is Quarto activated? Check health. As we already discovered, we do have this installed and installed successfully. But when I run Quarto, let's try Quarto preview. Exited with an error code. I need to be able to see the logs. I think that's the main. What is this DS store? I keep seeing it come up. Makes sense. Might need you later. I am quite conflicted here as to where to turn to next. Let's see. I need the logs. I feel the logs will unblock me. Let's see how we get the logs. Let's try it in here. And I know that sends a thing, which I hate. A little bit of stretching. LSP log. Okay, check messages, check LSP log. Let's try those first. I am quite dumb. So RC is literally just replacing the text. It's not actually running the command. Okay. Same thing for the other commands. For some reason they're not being applied. And I believe that's because of local leader. That's what happens when you blindly copy. A little too late for this, but out of principle. Okay. Let's see. Still same problem. So I believe this is because it doesn't do a no remap. I think it should do a no remap. But let's see what GPT has to say. It only runs during plugin installation and updates, not on every startup. So mappings never get registered. Config. Why did I use build? That wasn't in the instructions, was it? I think it just, in my mind I replaced build with config. Quarto.setup and all the other jazz. Yep, it's meant to be config. Because here build is even used as it should. I think I just stripped myself up there. Let's undo this and see if that works. I bet we could even leave it as local leader. And this should hopefully make leader RC still fill, of course. Does it even register? It doesn't even register this. I remember this time, haha. You're not gonna get me twice. Leader, yep. And this is also, I could have just accepted instead of doing confirm. Let's see. Here we want to execute the. There you go. There you go. This is beautiful. Exactly what I need. Run the code, the cell, and this runs. Now I just needed to. It keeps the output, but like when I leave the cell, it leaves. If I want it to persist, how do I do that? So I believe that's in the case, that's for the in the config of Molten. Okay. So the fix was literally just leader instead of local leader. Is local leader different? I thought local leader gets defaulted to leader unless you override it. But I may be mistaken. What do I know? So this is largely exactly what I want. I just need to refine what key maps I want and add additional key maps if that's something I want. Like for Molten specifically, maybe I just want to do a quick selection and run something. That would be extremely handy. Yep. Let's see. So we gotta set up Molten to persist those outputs once we render it. Unless we want to rerun, when we rerun it, then it gets updated. I believe that's a config on, because this just sends it to Molten, and Molten handles everything else. So I believe that's a config on Molten's end. Let's see what Quarto Preview does. What if I do this first? Nope. Nope. I tried. We tried. So we look at the docs for, what is this? Molten. That's what I need. I could just do it again. There we go. We're done with this practically. Let's see. Backend toggles images when windows are overlapped. Is that a snacks.nvim config or I think that's a snacks.nvim thing. Is there a way? The problem we're having, I think, is because of snacks.nvim. Doesn't persist. I intentionally set it not to persist the images. So once you're no longer on the subject that produces the image, it leaves. It's ephemeral. So that's something we need to change in snacks. There you go. can't remember which was which or what it does, but I think that's our culprit. Let's go to Syntax, images, and Vim. Image and Vim. Perfect. Let's see. Formats. Perfect. Let's see then. Render the image in a floating window. Only used if. Is there a way you can customize this for file types? Per file type? I really wish there is, because it would suck otherwise. Okay. Render the image in a floating window are only used if ops.inline is disabled. Render the image inline in the buffer. If your env doesn't support Unicode placeholders, this will be disabled. It takes precedence over floats. Let's make it inline first and see what that does. I wish there was a way you could change this per file type. I don't think I need to reload. Actually, I don't know why I did that. Nope, still broken. What if I say false? And so, try to start. Run cell. Still floats. First of all, I want to do something here. What is this? Did I change that? I did change that, didn't I? I did change that. Thank you very much. Let's see, Claude. My good old friend, good old pal. Is there a way to configure these image settings per file type? That would be really incredible. I hope there is. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Give me that money. Come on. Come on, come on. Ah, it's gotta do its thing, okay. Sure, just allow reads. Allow reading. See what you come back with. That seems like something very reasonable to want to do. Depending on your file type. No need. Okay. Okay. That sucks. Configure its changes it at runtime, but it doesn't preserve when you leave the file. It doesn't. It leaves the side effects. Let's see first. Okay, for now. For now, our focus is figuring out why it refuses to work, to persist. Because I think we have something definitely workable now. All that's left for me to start using it for actual work that I need to do is having it persist. Okay. Window options apply. This is all for image, right? Okay, so all these apply as well. I thought this was for the whole snacks. Okay, so doc. I don't know why it's named doc, but anyways, window options. Okay. Cache, debug, environment icons, convert, math. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to change. Snacks image hover. Why is it not persisting though is my big qualm. That's the one thing I need to have happen. And I can start using this thing. I just wanted to persist. That would be amazing. Okay, let's see. Can pass a load table with options to the setup. This is not anything related to what I'm looking for. Could be with snacks, but I couldn't find any relevant setting. Even after changing to make it inline, doesn't look like it's inline. Is it with molten? Is this molten? This is not molten. Let's see. So we look through the setup, but let's look at the docs. Does it have any configs for how? Molten auto image pop-up. Okay. When true, cells that produce an image output will open the image automatically with. Okay, no, I don't want that. When set to raise, molten auto init behavior. Commands which would otherwise ask for kernel when they're run without a running kernel will instead raise an exception. Plugins that want to use pcall and do their own error handling. Okay, molten auto open in HTML in browser, automatically open HTML outputs in a browser related to molten open command. Related molten open command. Molten auto open. Automatically open the floating output window when your cursor moves into a cell. I think I do want that. Molten auto open outputs. Let's see. We do have that already, but it doesn't seem to do that. It just does that on the initial. If we have two of these, let's say we have two of these just for, okay, actually, let's have Mr. Come on. This is still on the old place. I need to fix this, folks. It really is annoying. It's jarring to my workflow. So just improve this sample to really demonstrate the capabilities. Multiple code blocks as well. I only have a Python kernel for now. Keep that in mind. Whoop. Okay, let's continue looking through the options here. Cover empty lines. The output window and virtual text will be shown just below the last line of code in the cell. Okay, molten cover lines starting with cover line empty lines is true. Also covers lines starting with these strings. Okay. Molten cover or copy outputs. Copy evaluation output to clipboard automatically. Not know if I want that. Molten enter output behavior. The behavior of molten enter outputs. Open then enter. Let's see if we can, if we do molten enter outputs. Oh, okay. So it stores it in memory. That is good to know. That is brilliant to know, actually. Okay. But we have the automatically enter output set in that case. Why isn't it applying? The window can display the entire contents of the output buffer. Show the number of extra lines in the window buffer, in the window footer. It defaults to true, I guess. No, defaults to false. Molten output show more. I do want that actually. That sounds nice. Add the main buffer with virtual lines so the floating window doesn't cover anything while it's open. It's false by default. Right now, does it cover stuff? Let's see. Wow. I want much smaller code blocks, please. Okay. All right. Let's try that. First of all, copy this because I think it's going to delete this. Okay. So we could do run cell. It's running in the same environment, so that's persisted. So if I'm running multiple notebooks, it runs in the same environment. That's not good. Not the environment doesn't matter. It runs with the same kernel. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Does it print anything? Yeah, it does print stuff. Huh, cool. Cool beans. Coolio. Okay. So output show more, I want that. We add that to the config and see if anything changes. We won't see it in this because I don't think there's any PLT is not defined. Okay, skipped a couple lines. That's cool. If I go back, it doesn't respect this. That's a problem. I wish I respected that. What's an output window lines? What we can check here. Does this? Wow, what? What went wrong? That is very strange. Remove procedure call error. Python molten remote plugin. Error cut and request handler. Tick. What is the error? Invoking molten on cursor moved. This is strange business. Let's see if this changes anything. It stores the state, so I don't know if that helps, but I hope so. Let's see. Okay, looks to be working. Still, that is not working. But I think this is still overlaying, if I'm not mistaken. So something goes horribly wrong when I try to run the same thing twice. Or is it just an error in the code itself? But that should output as part of the output. Okay, so this overlays over the current text, which we want to change by outputting virtual lines. By the main buffer with virtual lines, so the floating window doesn't cover. Actually, that doesn't solve the problem I want to solve, because the problem is I don't want it to be in a floating window. I want it to be part of the document, just as in Jupyter. Molten outputs window, hide on leave. Molten save path, where to save load data. Molten split direction, split size, tick rates. Molten use border highlights. Limit output characters. Virtual lines off by 1. Virtual text outputs. When you show outputs as virtual text below the cell. Virtual text stays after leaving the cell. When you outputs window doesn't open automatically on run. Why though? Why doesn't it open automatically on run when that's true? Seems like you'd want those hand in hand. No, not necessarily, but molten virtual text max lines. Molten wrap outputs. What are you wrapping it with? Molten outputs window z index. Molten virtual text truncates. Floating window focus. What part of the output to focus on in the floating window? Molten show MIME type debug. Before any non-IO stream output chunk, the MIME type for the output chunk is shown. We don't need that. Border of a filled output window. Output border success. Molten cell apply to code that makes up a cell. Those are highlight groups. We provide some user auto commands for the future customization. Yeah, molten init pre and right that time. Okay. Output chunks. The Jupyter protocol mostly most output related messages provide a dictionary of MIME types. This just shows. Okay. Nothing else to see here. I don't think. This is just the update option. Oh, just updating the options. Running kernels. Return a list of currently running kernel IDs. Takes one argument when true. Returns only kernels running in the current buffer. Otherwise, returns all running kernel IDs. I didn't understand the word of that. Okay, let's read that again. Return a list of the currently running kernel IDs. Take one argument. I don't need to understand that actually. It's not important. Return a list of kernel names that Molten is aware of. Okay. Define cell. Oh, okay, this is. I think I'm just. My brain is dead. Let's see. There was one I wanted to apply. That was Molten virtual text output. Let's try that. Oh, it does give us the error. That's perfect. Well, that's what we expected. But oh, persists. Oh no, that's just because we were still in the code block. True. Let's see what this gives us. So if I run this, okay, I like this. Fail MP is not defined, so we gotta do this. This is amazing. It's doing both though. I don't like that. Output show more. Should we turn this off then? Auto open outputs if we don't want both. And then we go from the top. Run. Wow, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, I think we've reached the end game. This is incredible. Okay. I love this. Okay. This is exactly what I was looking for. Beautiful. Okay, this is... Here we go. Okay. So... everything is working perfectly. That's the end game. Okay. There we go. Alright, so this is where I feel like this is a perfect start for the video. So we show the end results and then work through building our way up to it. I'm not gonna do that today because it's 11:34 where I am right now, PM. Let's see. Don't mind me, I'm just admiring this. This is so nice that I'm actually able to... Yeah, I guess this would work in Markdown as well, right? Like, one enables, the shortcuts are tied to Quarto.nvim, but the actual backend, the actual Molten, that doesn't necessarily have to be tied to that. When we set up the Molten environments, the custom code we wrote to set up the environment, we just set it to work on these files. But we could also create a custom command that can trigger it for the current file. If it's a markdown file, we do this. I mean, we can really do it for any file. We don't have to enforce that it has to be a markdown file, but we do this, then we run that command in the markdown file if we want to start processing the code blocks, right? And then all we really need to do is do the maps for Molten and learn the commands for Molten, how to, like, we select a block and we send that, because Quarto.nvim helps us to grab the correct thing and format it. If there's like leading space, white space or anything like that, it removes it from what I was reading, at least. And then it sends that, which is pretty light work to actually do for Markdown, and you can avoid most of that by just formatting the code as expected anyways. Might need a little bit of tree-sitter querying the tree to grab the language and all that stuff, and sending the right language to Molten. But I honestly think that's all we need. It's not a stretch to support Markdown. The thing is, I don't want to do the work because it's not worth the result is not worth the effort. This is more than enough for me. The fact that this is working is more than enough for me. Okay, this is good progress. I wonder what this self-contained does. The HTML is self-contained. It can be contained within this file because this file is just a plain markdown. I guess it depends on how. Well, we're not working with HTML. It doesn't matter. We are working with. I actually wonder where it stores results. I think, it's stored within the kernel that we created. If we reinitialize the kernel using some Molten command that I read earlier, this is the benefits of reading the manual. Even if you don't know everything off the gates, you know where to find stuff. You know that stuff exists. You know what stuff exists. You can often discern. Okay. Molten restart. But you use it with a bang to delete the outputs. Okay. I think this is everything. But actually, we're only using Molten here. We made it to be not use floats. But really, we're only using Molten for Quarto files. So that's fine that we're not using floats. Because if it was a Markdown, I'd prefer floats. But I'm not setting up Markdown. We're sticking to Quarto files. Okay. Maybe for the video, I will try to set up Markdown and expose these custom, because remember I made some custom callbacks to automatically config nvim molten. Whoa, what the heck? I don't know what that is, not important. Molten. Yep, all of this jazz. Nope, not that jazz. This jazz. All of this, I can make it into a utility. I'm thinking of how best to expose this to the user. Because if I make it into a utility plugin thing, then I have to add additional logic, checking that Molten. It might not be that much additional logic actually. Because all I need to know is present is Molten. And Python 3 has to be installed, I guess. I basically have to make this production quality, which I cannot don't. If it'll help with the video, I can spend the time to do it, but I really don't wanna. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Pardon me, I'm just admiring and scrutinizing the work at the same time. See if there's anything. Because right now I think we've done what we wanted to do. We have it working. Oh, I did come here for a reason. Why did I come here? Oh no, I came here to just explain to my audience of 0 people what I intended to do that I'm not so sure I intend to do anymore. Yeah, I'll probably have to figure out a way to get Markdown support, because if I make it work with Markdown, then that's an amazing draw for the video. If it's Quarto, no one knows about Quarto, except for data science people maybe. So if I make it work with Markdown, like you can run code on your Markdown, then that would be a good video idea. Okay. All right. I think I will do that. Okay, I'm actually I after yesterday, after the massive tangent I went on and how long that took, I was expecting this to run into more issues here. It'll take me forever. I didn't expect it to work right out the gate. Just tweak a couple molten flags and it works. That was surprising. Okay, I think I'm gonna end the stream now, and I'm gonna start actually using this to play around with the projects, which I will share more details on soon. And by soon, it's probably next, I don't know, couple months, or maybe not that long. Not couple months, definitely not that long. Maybe in the next month, but we will see. We shall see. And I'll see if I have time tomorrow. I can work a bit on actually no, I won't have time tomorrow. Maybe Monday I'll work a bit on making a stream for recording the video, seeing if I can get it to work in Markdown, then making a video, recording the video. We leave editing up to whenever we do that, but at least getting it recorded, beginning where working with Markdown, then record the video. If I can get those two things done sooner rather than later, then editing feels mentally less of a hurdle to me than, I don't know, even though I know it's probably gonna take time. Anyways, that's the end of the stream. Thank you everyone, which is no one, but yep. I don't expect. I hear that it's extremely hard to get any audience on streams. Like you're not really doing it for that. I guess the only reason I'm really doing streams is because doing a video seems a little more intimidating. So it's like a stepping stone, and it's also a nice way of making a video without having to edit in real time by like stopping the camera and like timing yourself. You just do everything right on stream and then split it together, splice everything together into a video. So yeah. Anyways, yep, that's the end of the stream.